All right, welcome back to Cricket for Americans, CFA. Nick here.
Gabe.
And I'm so excited to have Gabe here. I've done a few solo videos recently. So glad to have this guy. He is going to tell you what we are doing today because this is going to be his baby.
Well, you know what? I'm a man of the people, okay? I'm like The Rock, bro. I'm the people's champ. And every time I look in the notes, in the comments, everybody's like, Gabe, when you gonna do the test review? Gabe, you gotta review the test. Gabe. So I finally broke down and said, all right, I'm gonna review the test because I had already seen your review to it, and I like going into stuff with my own opinion. I don't like being influenced by anyone else, even yourself. So I'm like, I knew I was walking into this already having seen your review, but that's okay. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, let's see what this is like. Let's see if Nick is right that this thing is so great. And I tell you what, this is amazing. Here's the thing. This would never happen today in America. Ever. It should. You know what? I'm going to send an email, no joke, to the Houston Astros and say, why don't you guys do this? Because this may save you. Because right now, the only people on the planet that's happy about the COVID-19 are the Houston Astros because it took away the attention from the disaster that would have been this season for them. I have never seen 7 players get hit in 4 games in spring training. It was insane. Or 3 games, whatever it was. People left and right were getting beamed because they were caught cheating. It was a huge scandal. And I remember us talking about scandals in sports. And we asked, were there any big scandals in cricket? And people, there's not too many scandals.
We got destroyed for asking that question. How dare you?
Yeah, how dare you? Well, there was a huge scandal in cricket. Now, to be fair, it was the Australian team. It wasn't the Indian team, but still, it was a huge scandal. But man, this guy got caught for doing the same thing baseball players have been caught doing in the past, and that's using sandpaper to doctor up the cricket ball so that it does funny things, okay? Basically, you want that ball to be, you don't want it new. Whenever you have a brand new ball, it's gonna, and this only goes for pitchers, not batters. Batters want it to be, I want to know what that ball is doing. Pitchers want it to go all over the place because that way the batters throws the batter's timing off. It's all about timing when you're hitting. And obviously scuffing up the ball is going to give you some type of advantage.
Well, I think in cricket, they want it to be as shiny as possible.
Right.
Usually in baseball, you want, you're right. And the pitchers, they don't want any kind of scuffs on it either, but you want to have any kind of advantage you can, but you want to have it shiny. He was sanding it down, but yeah, he definitely wanted to help himself out.
And here's the thing, man. They start off the episode. There wasn't like, no, this was alleged. This was that bro, it was on camera because he was trying to stuff it in his underpants and you could see it clear as day. And here's the thing. They start off the episodes. The episode starts off right with them 18 months in the future, and now they're at the Ashes, right? They're playing for the Ashes against England, and their bowler basically gets an out, but they're trying to go back to it, and all of a sudden it's got to go to the review. I was glad to see that, just like in American sports.
When the scandal happened, it wasn't the Ashes; it was against South Africa.
No, I'm saying how the episode starts. The episode starts already in the future with JL, the new coach of the team, and he's up in the coach's box watching it as his team may or may have not just won the Ashes because it looks like his bowler, got the batter out. But of course, it's got to go to the review, the dreaded review. And I've been on both sides of that review as a baseball fan, as a football fan, as a basketball fan. And when it goes against your team, you want to kill yourself. You're like, why? But when it, goes your team, even if it shouldn't, you're like, yes,
have a chance.
But now they go back, they give you that. That's how the episode starts. And now they go back in 18 or 16 months actually in the past, and they go to what happened with the scandal where these guys got ran out of South Africa. I've never seen a scene like that. There were police officers surrounding Steve Smith as they ushered him out of the country. You would have thought the guy was a war criminal. Come on, dude. And you just felt so bad for him. I will say that I instantly love Steve Smith, even though he got caught up in the cheating scandal, because to me, he showed the most remorse. All the three of the guys that got suspended show remorse, and even the coach showed remorse. But he was crying like a grown man, like a baby, I should say, at the press conference. And it showed remorse. It showed contrition. It showed what none of the Houston Astros, by the way, have shown. You know what? All the Houston Astros should watch the test. You know, all of you guys that are, Altuve and Bregman, watch the test and do what these guys did. We'll just take it on the chin and said, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done this. Because to this date, nobody else on the team has even come out and apologized. None of these guys that say what we did was wrong. They're just, we can't get suspended. It is what it is. The commission made their ruling. And I think that's why people even hate them even more. Rant over. Houston Astros, watch the test. Take a good lesson from the Australian national cricket team. In any event, the top three players on the team are suspended. The captain, the opening batsman, their main pitcher, all suspended. The coach has to step down. And you felt bad for the coach because it wasn't like the coach was out there tampering with the ball. It was like, look, it's on me. It happened on my watch. So he steps down. This was the end of Australian cricket. Basically, okay, this was the they just buried it, and now you have the most unassuming, the most unlikely person to become the new coach, who's the wicket keeper, who by his own admission isn't even the best player. He's like, when they gave it to me, I'm like, look, I'm just gonna come out there and be me. That's all I can be. I want to lead the right way, lead by example. And I thought it was funny when he said, in Australia, being the captain of the national cricket team is the second most important job behind prime minister. And he's like, look, I just said a defensive lineup and change bowlers. That's it. That's all I can. Because if you really think about the pressure that's on this guy, it's got to be unsurmountable. In any event, then they named a new coach, JL, who's a legendary player. And I think that was a stroke of genius by the Australian body, whoever controls the national cricket team. Get somebody in there, who the fans still like, because again, the fans were crucifying the team. You embarrass Australia. You embarrass us as a nation. So you have to get somebody in there who they still like, but that is also reputable enough to earn the respect of the troops. And they brought in a player. And I like the first thing JL said was like, look, I'm not that far removed from the game where I remember what it is to be a batsman. I remember the pressure. I remember getting out. I remember winning. So he can empathize with these guys because he's been there. That was a stroke of genius. I loved his demeanor. He was the right guy, in my opinion, the right selection for that team. For me, I did not like Tim Paine, bro, as far as being the captain until the second game. Like the first game they go out there, bro, they get massacred. They get destroyed. And JL's like, all right, you know what, guys, we got beat up, whatever. And of course, it's against England. Okay, their first test is against their hated rivals, England. They go over there and get destroyed the very first game. Second game, they go up there, they get destroyed again. Tim Paine takes a ball off the ground. It a hole in his lip. My man is leaking, all right, blood out there. And he just, nope, I'm staying in the game. And that just showed character. And even JL says, you know what? Good on you. We got destroyed this game. This game was disgusting, but everybody should remember what he did out there. I don't want to hear, I pulled this or I did that. He said, unless you're, and there were a lot of expletives dropped, unless you're hurt, I don't want to hear it. Unless you are injured, I don't want to hear it. You're hurt. Everybody's hurt. Go out there and play. And to me, that was Tim Paine's defining moment as a captain, showing, listen, guys, I could have easily bowed out. We're getting blown out by 300 runs. There's no reason for me to stay in here. But he stayed in there for another 15, 20 wickets, like JL said, with a hole in his lip, man. Anything you want to mention right now up until this point?
No, you're doing great. I liked how this series, and I mentioned in the review, how not only did Australia allow this film crew to follow them, but how this series it was not propaganda. It was not biased. It wasn't anything. It was a straight reflection. Look in the mirror. This is what you have. And I like you. I loved Justin Langers from the beginning. I liked his demeanor. I liked his excitement for being, he said, this is the greatest job ever. This is what I've always wanted. This is awesome. I like how it gave you a lot of information about cricket. I mean, you find out that Australia was like one of the best of all time in the 80s, 90s. They won back-to-back World Cups, almost won a third one in a row. I mean, and the 2000, these guys were royalty as far as cricket goes, and they have this scandal that happens. And not just that, with two of their best players, one being the captain of the team, for crying out loud. So it was definitely interesting how it started off. You're right. Justin Langers, he goes off on his expletive rant when he's tired of losing. I'm not sure if that was episode 2 or episode 1, but he just
that
goes
was episode
off.
1. And here's the best part I liked about it. He wasn't too big to learn himself, because he went in and said, look, guys, I don't, and he even told the press, the most important thing for me right now is to make it so that we have respectable players, how we carry ourselves. We're going to practice the right way. We're going to play the right way, because what did the other guys do? They disrespected the team, right? They disrespected the game. So all I care about is the process. Well, everybody did what he wanted. Process. They still went out there and got the tar beat out of him. So by the second loss, he's losing his head, and the other coaches have to kind of rein him in, which I loved, and say, listen, if you're going to be talking about process, these guys are doing the process. So you have to acknowledge that they're putting in the work, and it's going to take some time. For some of these guys, this is their very first shot at playing test cricket. This is their very first shot at playing. Some of these other guys that are here are still reeling from the after effects of the scandal. So they're doing the right thing. And then JL, even though he's the head coach, he takes the advice from his other coaches. And he's like, you know what? You're right. I can't be here talking about process and lose my mind because we just lost 2 games. The hardest thing is to follow the process, but that's just the reality of it. We'll follow the process. So even he had a little bit of an arc in that very first episode, which I loved. Going on, you think there's going to be some redemption for these guys. Game 3, England sets a record against them. 497, almost 500 runs. You could see JL's face like, oh my God, this just happened on my watch. And, fast forward, and we're not going to go through all the games, but you're thinking that in this first episode is going to be a Cinderella story, and they got swept. They lost 5-2. Now they went over there all 5 games, 5-0. And he said this was probably one of the worst days in the history of Australian cricket, because guys just got destroyed. They got demolished. And you see the pressure on these guys. But they walked with their heads high because they played the game the right way. And you saw guys playing hurt. You saw Tim Paine with a hole in his lip leaking. And it's like, look, do you want us to play the right way, or do you want us to take the shortcuts that got us the place where we were at 16 months ago, or not 16 months ago, but earlier, where our guys felt so much pressure to win, just win. They went out and did some stuff that was not okay and was illegal. And one of the things I love that Tim Paine did, it would have been easy for him to throw other players that did that under the bus, because the press was relentless. They were like, are you angry at your teammates that got suspended? I mean, if they were here, this wouldn't have happened. And he said, no, I play with the guys that are here now, and those are good blokes too. They made a mistake. And it was like, look, guys, as much as I hate the Houston Astros for what they did, specifically because I'm a Yankees fan, and it may have cost the Yankees a chance to go to at least 2 World Series. It definitely cost the Dodgers an actual World Series. But these guys are still people, all right? It says in the Bible, let he without sin, cast the first stone. We've all done wrong. The Houston Astros were getting death threats, man. For instance, what's his name? I forget his name. His wife is on Instagram, had to shut her page down because her family on there was getting on Facebook, I just said death threats. I cannot remember his name right now. Not Altuve, not Bregman, Correa, the shortstop Correa. So it's like, guys, it's a game. I get it. People are upset. People feel cheated. People are passionate. But remember, they're people. They made mistakes. And I love that Tim Paine was sticking up for the guys. It would have been easy for him saying, look, I'm the captain now. They were wrong. They this. He did not throw them under the bus. He didn't take the opportunity to throw them under the bus. And he said, we'll take our licks. We're going to play the right way. We're going to show good character, and we're going to build from this. And that was amazing. To me, that's where he earned his stripes. As far as being a player is concerned, is he the best player? No. Is he ever going to be the best player? No. And I mean, that's sometimes the reality. Sometimes, you know, you need that guy that will grind and work hard to set examples, because sometimes the best players, let's be honest, they don't work the hardest because they're just naturally gifted and talented. And you know, sometimes the best players, the Michael Jordan of the world, some of those guys are a little off the rails. They don't know how to speak to other players. They're very aggressive. And I thought that Tim Paine, what he did the best was be a communicator with his teams. They got beat up out there. His bowlers got beat up, and he went out there and said, hey, guys, it's a game. We're getting paid to play a game. It's okay. There'll be another game. It is what it is. Yeah, somebody was like, they just what was it? They just a record against us. Somebody set a record before that. That was, you know, somebody set a record before that. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I loved his demeanor, his character. It was so calm, so even keel that I was like, okay, now I see why they selected him to be the captain, because they're gonna come under a firestorm over the next 8 episodes, which covers that 18-month period. And media, other teams, everybody's going to be attacking them because they went from being the darlings of cricket to now being number one enemies, what the Houston Astros would have and probably still are going to face eventually. Everyone's ire, and you need the person with the right temperament to survive that, because not everybody can. But I mean, those are my thoughts on episode 1. I know that Nick already did a review on the entire thing, but I wanted to do an episode by episode review, because I just think there's so much information. If we just do a whole review, we're not going to be able to focus on individual players that come in, come out. I've already seen the whole thing, but you know, like Uzi, who's so huge for them early on, right? His story, we'll talk a little bit about him in the next episode. And then of course, later on when other players come back, there's so much that happens that just in one review, I know you probably weren't able to get it all out in that one review. So I thought that was this is a better format for this kind of thing. But what did you think? Anything that I missed?
Well, you know, you have the luxury of seeing it so recently. I have not rewatched it since the first time, so it's hard for me to not get things blended in. I thought you did a great job. I completely agree with Tim Paine. I was like, why is this guy? I mean, not knowing much about cricket, you can tell he's not the best, at least batsman on the field. He's a wicket keeper, and that's not an easy task. But you can see the way he communicates. And even this first episode, he's kind of more timid. He's supporting the coach, and he's trying to get everyone together. But you need someone to get these guys together, because they had 2 of their best players are gone, and they're in shambles right now. And now they got to play against England, who has their full arsenal. So I thought he did a great job. You got to be a leader. You got to be a communicator. And to be the captain of the test team. Test is the hardest format, in my opinion, because it takes 5 days. It's a grueling type of situation. You need someone who's strong and mentally tough. And so that's where they have Tim Paine. So I thought he did a great job. Who knows how much I'll be talking in these reviews? That's okay. I am here for moral support and to throw a few nuggets here or there. Like I said earlier, don't forget to like and subscribe to Cricket for Americans. If you want to see my review for the test, check it out on Boring Reviews. We also have a trailer reaction on there. Check that out as well. And, you know, stick around for episode 2. Should be coming in a few days or so. But keep watching. And until next time.
That's 6 runs.